How's it going, guys? Randall, aka Shizukats here on the Tressa's Collectibles channel, and today we're going to be bringing you the latest addition to the beloved BanG Dream set. So this is going to be Girls Band Party 5th anniversary, obviously commemorating the 5th anniversary of the Girls Band Party mobile game. And we've got quite a bit of stuff to take a look at today, as of course with BanG Dream having a pretty large cast, it has a pretty wide variety of new cards to take a look at in this set, between both the booster box itself as well as this intro deck product. So we're going to be taking a look at a lot of cool new cards that we can utilize in our BanG Dream decks. One interesting note about this set is that it does utilize the anniversary trait, one that we're also going to be seeing in the upcoming Sword Art Online 10th anniversary for the anime. And actually, there are 0 cards in this set that reference the music trait that a lot of the older cards tend to utilize. Instead, they're going to be cards that specifically support the anniversary trait, so it's kind of locked to this set, but also supporting the band-specific decks. So, for example, we'll be taking a look at, like, for example, Kasumi that will look for anniversary or pop-in party trait, or a Yukina that references anniversary trait or Rhodesia trait. Now, while the cards in this set do not reference the music trait at all, there are abilities that are just generic and will be able to be used in just a general music trait build using a lot of the old stuff, and we'll be taking a look at each of those cards when they come up. But yeah, so just taking a look at what products we're going to be looking at. We have, of course, the 1 intro deck and 2 booster boxes of the set. And before we get into our opening, as usual, got to take a look at that beautiful case topper playmat. I really love the design that they went with this one, using some of the SSP arts that you could potentially pull in this set. So with that out of the way, let's get right into our product opening, starting with the intro deck. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with the intro deck. So this is kind of like a trial deck type product, where it's a perfect product to give to new players so they can get used to the mechanics and try out the game. There are a couple interesting differences between normal trial decks and this intro deck, though. The first one being that this intro deck is only 1 color, which is red. So we are going to be seeing red cards in some of the groups that don't normally have red, such as Rhodesia and Hello Happy World and Afterglow, Morphonica and Reza Suilen. So that creates some very interesting dynamics if you want to try to include some of these cards in like a mono band deck. But another interesting thing about this particular product is that it comes with some pretty powerful cards and 2 climax combos. So don't be fooled by its intro deck naming. It's definitely got some pretty powerhouse cards that you're going to want to pick up, even if you're planning to build a more optimized deck of BanG Dream. So let's go ahead and cut the seal and get right into this one. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. So every intro deck is just like a trial deck, a pre-constructed deck. Okay, this box is actually a little bit hard to open, so unfortunately I am going to have to rip it a little, but every intro deck is pre-constructed just like a trial deck and comes with the usual goodies that you would expect from a trial deck as well, such as the quick play guide, as well as the paper playmat, which you can use before you get yourself one of those nice rubber playmats. And as usual, with the playmats that come in the trial deck, there are some tips on the back of the playmat that correspond to the product that you can go ahead and read to get an idea of what your deck is going to be aiming to do. All right, so now let's take a look at the intro deck itself. So there's quite a bit of cool cards in here that we can utilize in a more optimized build. And unlike the JP version of the product, I'm pretty sure in JP, when they printed the intro deck, it was all non-foils, but in the English version of the product, there are 7 cards, 1 of each band, that can come foil, and you are getting 2 foils per intro deck at random, and those will be towards the back, just like with trial decks. Now, as far as the characters that are featured in this intro deck, it's only the 7 vocalists. So we're not going to see any of the guitarists, bassists, drummers, keyboardists in here. It's just going to be our seven vocalists, our lead members. So starting off here, we have the level 0 Kasumi. This is a discard bonder to a 1/0 vanilla Kokoro, and also you can rest her to give one of your anniversary or pop-in party characters plus 2k until end of turn. So there we have our first example of an ability that references anniversary trait or the specific band, so you can run it in either one. And just like a trial deck, cards in this are going to be coming as either 2-ofs or 4-ofs. So if you get 2 intro decks, you could get a playset of every card that you need. Okay, next up we have the level 0 Aya. This is a tap self brainstorm 5. For each climax you can draw a card, and it actually has an additional effect to give +1 soul to either of the 2 climax combos in this intro deck. So those are the level 1 Yukina and the level 3 Kasumi. So we'll be coming back to this in a bit, as this is quite a relevant effect. Okay, next up we have the level 0 Ron. So when this is placed on stage from hand, if you have 2 or more other anniversary or afterglow characters, you may draw a card, and if you do, discard a card. And when she attacks, you can choose one of your anniversary or afterglow characters and give them 1500 power until end of turn. It's a pretty nice filter and buff card. There are quite a few decent filtering options and buffing options already in BanG Dream, but this is definitely a card that you should have on your radar in case you're looking for a card that can do both in one. Okay, next up we have one of the strongest cards in the intro deck without a doubt, and that is the level 0 Yukina. And it's so great that they give us 4 copies in every single intro deck. So this Yukina has a very powerful ability where when one of your other anniversary or Rhodesia characters is front attacked, if the Yukina is on your stage, you can pay 1 and sack her to waiting room in order to bounce the character being attacked back to your hand. And so this allows you to retain your characters while also potentially denying your opponent a reverse for like an on-reverse ability. Typically, when you're using this type of card, there are 2 ways that you can use it. So the first way is to put it in your front row so that you can attack with it and then get value, because you can use the ability in the front row to save one of your other front row characters. Like typically, if you play 3 cards to the front row and your opponent would defeat all of them, then you lose 3 cards. But if you sacrifice one of the Yukinas to bounce another, then you're only losing 2 cards. So it's a very good way to get value. The other way that people like to use this effect is to put it in the back row. And while this doesn't actually net you any bonus cards because you're sacrificing a back row and losing 2 front row characters and saving 1, while this doesn't actually get you any value, it's a great way to guarantee that you can deny your opponent an on-reverse ability, which is really, really good against certain deck strategies. Now, Yukina's other effect says that up to twice per turn, when you play another anniversary or Rhodesia trait character from your hand, she gets plus 1000 power until end of turn. So this allows her to go up to 4000 power, allows her to punch over some of the opposing characters and make sure that she survives into the opponent's turn so that you can use her other ability to bounce your character back to your hand and get value. So this is a really, really strong card. And if you're looking for a really strong level 0 in red to play in the anniversary deck, or even the Rhodesia deck, now that we have some red Rhodesia cards, this is definitely one that you're going to want to look into. All right, next up we have 3 copies. Well, one is going to be in the back, but we have 3 copies of the level 0 layer. This is a 4K beater, and all of your opponent's characters get pay 2 encore. So in the early game, in the intro deck, you're going to be using the layer and the Yukina as your offensive core. These 2 cards are really, really powerful. Up next, we have 4 copies of the Ron backup. I'm not totally sure why they decided to put 4 copies of this backup in the intro deck, but we have 4 here. This is a pretty standard 2K backup effect where it starts as 1K, but if you have an anniversary or afterglow character on stage, you can give your battling character an additional 1K power until end of turn. All right, up next, we have one of the other really, really strong cards in this deck, which is the level 1 Yukina combo. So between the level 0 and level 1, these are the only red Rhodesia cards in all of BanG Dream. So if you want to try to use the red level 1 Yukina combo in a Rhodesia deck, you're pretty much obligated to run 4 of this and 4 of the Yukina level 0. Now, this is a very powerful card, though. So during your turn, she gets plus 2,000 power if you have 2 or more other Anniversary or Rhodesia characters, bringing her up to a solid 6,500 offense. And her climax combo is with a door. So it's right here. So the climax combo says that when you reverse her battle opponent, if you have 2 or more other Anniversary or Rhodesia characters, you can discard a card to search your deck for up to 2 Anniversary or Rhodesia characters and add them to your hand. So this allows you to get unneeded cards out of your hand while simultaneously grabbing 2 cards out of your deck, actively compressing to make it easier to cancel upcoming attacks. And it's just a really strong card overall. So this is one of the contenders for the level 1 spot in the Anniversary deck. And we'll definitely be taking a look at this card in some of our later videos upcoming on the channel. So keep an eye out for that. All right, up next we have the level 0, or not level 0, the level 1 Kokoro Vanilla. This card goes with the level 0 Kasumi that we looked at earlier. Although, being a vanilla, not exactly the most notable card. Next we have 3 copies of the Mashiro level 2. Similar to the Ron, I'm not totally sure why they decided to include this card at 4 copies, but it is a 4 of nonetheless. So this is an level assist. Characters in front of this get 500 times their own level, and also you can rest her to draw 1 card and discard 1 card. So it's a way to freely filter cards in and out of your hand, up on top of being an assist. Next up we have the Kokoro level 2 Beater. She gets plus 2,500 power for each of your other Anniversary or Hello Happy World characters in your back row. So this potentially brings her up to 11k power if you have 2 back row. And buffed by the Mashiro actually does allow her to become quite strong at 12k at level 2. So you could definitely use this to take control of the board while at level 2. Since this intro deck does not have any early play strategies where they would allow you to bring out level 3s at level 2. All right, up next we have the second climax combo of the deck, which is the 3-2 Kasumi. We're gonna go ahead and put this over here. So this card is very, very interesting. So first of all, she has an on-play ability to search your deck for an Anniversary or Pop-In Party character, and her climax combo is actually with a +2 soul. So lots of DPS coming in here, being able to potentially swing for lots of damage, but her climax combo works with the +2 soul as well. At the end of her attack, if you have the +2 soul in your climax area, you put X cards from the bottom of your opponent's deck into their waiting room and deal X damage, where X is equal to the number of climaxes among the cards that your opponent sent to waiting room. X equals this card's soul. So basically, if you're able to pump this card with the +2 soul, or even a direct attack, or even triggering extra soul triggers, you could mill like 6 or even 7 cards from the bottom of your opponent's deck, which in other sets like Sword Art Online or Fate Stay Night, those kinds of effects typically have a pretty big cost. But this card, definitely a very interesting choice that you could potentially run in your deck. And there are some pretty silly moments that have happened concerning this card. All right, and then our other level 3 in the trial deck, or actually, you know what? Hold on. Before we go on to the next level 3, we do have to come back to the level 0 Aya now that we've looked at both of these combos. So level 0 Aya Brainstorm has a secondary effect where at the beginning of your climax phase, if you have 2 or more other Anniversary or Pastel Palettes characters, you choose one of your level 3 Kasumi combo or level 1 Yukina combo and give them +1k and +1 soul until end of turn. So this can be really, really strong at level 1, allowing you to push for a lot of damage with what would normally be just a 2 soul attack, and instead turning it into a 3 soul. Or at level 3, you can utilize it with the Kasumi. As we said earlier, her climax combo does work based on how much soul she has, so you could buff up her soul with the Aya Brainstorm and just make the finishing combo even more ridiculous than it already is. So the Aya is definitely a card that you're going to want to see 2 of in your back row consistently, not only for her draw Brainstorm to allow you to get more cards, but also for that convenient soul pump that can sometimes make some really zany situations. All right, now finally for our last character of the deck, we have the level 3 Aya. So this is a healer, and when she attacks, you can pay 2, discard 2, and burn 2 damage to your opponent. So This is a pretty useful card considering that the Kasumi does not actually utilize any resources for her climax combo. You can utilize that extra stock and extra hand on the Aya instead. So really, really good complement between these two cards. All right, so then we have the rest of the climaxes. We have the other 3 copies of the +2 Soul. We have the other 3 copies of the Door Climax. And of course, with all of the art in this set coming from the Girls Band Party mobile game, you already know that the art in this set is going to be crazy. And this Yukina Door Climax is definitely one of my favorite arts in this entire set. It just looks really, really clean. All right, now we get to the back of the pack. We're going to be seeing the 2nd or 4th copies of some of the cards that we already looked at, and we are going to be finding our 2 foils. So we have the level 0 Run, which is not our foil. We have the level 0 Layer, level 2 Mashiro, level 2 Kokoro, and level 3 Aya. So this means that our 2 foils, I believe, are our 2 climax combos. We have our level 1 Yukina, and one really nice thing about the SRs that come in this intro deck is that unlike some of the trial deck SRs where they are a flat foiling, these foils do actually have a bit of texturing to them, kind of like SRs that you would see in a booster pack, so that's really nice. And then our other level 3 is the level 3 Kasumi. So we got our 2 climax combos from the intro deck as our foils, really, really nice. And we're gonna go ahead and get on to our booster boxes as we have a lot to look at. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this up and get right into that. All right, I cannot find the box cutter, so my keys will have to do. We're gonna go ahead and get right into our first box of Girls Band Party 5th Anniversary. So this set came out a little over a year ago in Japanese, obviously celebrating the 5th anniversary of the JP version of the game, since the English and JP versions came out at different times. But now English is finally getting it for themselves to celebrate the English 5th anniversary. Now, there's a lot of really cool cards that we're going to be looking at today. But first, of course, we have the box toppers. So the box toppers in this set are actually the frameless versions of some of the climaxes that can come within the set itself. So the one that we pulled is for the Aya level 3 standby combo. Yeah, that's one thing that is going to be highlighted a bit in this particular set, is that Pastel Palettes can now play an 8 standby deck. So that's a pretty nice switch up from what we're usually used to seeing with Pastel, which is more of 1k1 strategies with things like door climaxes, and occasionally we see some wind climaxes as well in some of the earlier builds. All right, as far as the double R and foil ratios that we should be looking for, we're looking for 4 to 5 double Rs per box and 2 foils per box. And as far as the high rarity ratios, we're looking at expected ratio of 1 SSP and 6 SPs per case. Unlike some of the older sets, this set does not feature the SPA and SPB system, so all of the 6 SPs are just going to be normal SPs. So hopefully we can pull something nice out of our 2 boxes, but let's get right into our first pack. All right, so of course we have that beautiful Girls Band Party art. Those of you who are in the Girls Band Party community will definitely know about this particular art, you know, the one with Rimi with a gun during the zombie apocalypse. I remember a lot of people were just like, who gave Rimi the gun? But this is actually a pretty nice card. Because of Popipaw's synergy with a lot of really good events, being able to have a nice offensive twin drive like this level 1 Rimi is pretty strong. Okay, we have the level 0 Choo Choo playing into the accelerate strategy that Reza Suilen is known for. Okay, 2k backup for Mocha. We have, actually, I'm going to keep this one on the side. We're going to want to come back to this one later, as this has a pretty nice interaction with a double R that we could potentially pull later. All right, for our first double R out of the first pack, we have the level 3 Chisato. So this card is quite similar to Suisei early play from Hololive, in that she is a 4 or more early play, and she also gets to come into play while ignoring the color that you have in clock or level. In addition, she gets, during your turn, plus 500 power for each of your Anniversary or Pastel Palettes characters. This card actually says Other on the English version, which is not correct. This card is actually supposed to just include herself, allowing her to go up to 11,500 power. And her last ability is when she's placed on stage from hand, you can heal to the bottom of your deck. So this can be useful for setting up situations where you want the bottom card of your deck to be a guaranteed card. Yeah, it's always very useful to have knowledge of the bottom card of your deck, or have knowledge of where any cards are, to be completely honest. But yeah, there we have our first double R, the level 3 Chisato. Okay, here we have the level 2 Tsukushi event. I'm going to come back to this one as well, as this is a package that I'm very fond of. Here we have the level 1 Picture Perfect event for Pastel Palettes. This is a really cool card as well. So it's a 1/1 event, and it has an Operation Tornado-like effect, where you brainstorm 3, you count the number of Anniversary or Pastel Palettes characters among them, and then you salvage a level X or lower character, where X is the number of traded characters that you milled. I said Operation Tornado, but now that I think about it, the storage event in BanG Dream is probably something that you all would be more familiar with, considering that this is a BanG Dream opening. Additionally, when you play this event, it goes to memory, and while it's in memory, you can play all Anniversary characters or Pastel Palettes characters from your hand without needing to fulfill any color requirement, which is really, really cool. Allows you to really play into those multicolor Pastel Palette strategies. All right, for our first rare, we have the level 1 Tae. So this is a new pants combo in the set. During your turn, if you have another Anniversary or Pop-In Party character, this gets 1500 power, going up to 6k, 7k with the climax. And on reverse climax combo, you get to look at up to 4 from the top of your deck, choose up to 2 level 1 or higher cards from among them, and those can be events as well, because it says cards. You put one of them in your hand and put one of them into stock, and then the rest into waiting room. So this is actually a profile that we've already seen in English on 7 Deadly Sins in the 10 Commandments deck. So this is a card that you can now make use of in BanG Dream as well. And for our climax, we have the 2 Soul Akko climax. Okay, moving on to our second box, or second pack rather. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. We have a very strong level 0 for Hello Happy World decks. It is a Summon Riki that lets you grab a cost 0 or lower character whose level is equal or lower than your level from your deck and put it on stage. So this is great for grabbing things like Brainstorms, pretty much anything that, or even like level 1 combos, basically anything that you want to have at that point in time, you can grab with this. Unlike normal Rikis, where they put the top card of your deck into clock, or sometimes they put a card from Waiting Room into the bottom of your clock, this one actually puts a card from the top of your stock into your clock. I think this is something that we've seen in sets like Gurren Lagann on the level 0 Nia Riki. Additionally, when your other Anniversary or Hello Happy World character attacks, she gets plus 1,000 power until end of turn. So when you're playing aggressive and utilizing your Summon Riki to attack a lot, then you can get that Kaoru to be quite big on the offense. Okay, here we have the level 0 Pareo. So this is a really interesting card in that her effect references Pastel Palettes and Reza Suilen and not Anniversary trait. And obviously, this is like a flavor thing because Pareo is a really big fan of Pastel Palettes, and it allows you to summon a character from your waiting room as if it was in your hand and without fulfilling color requirements. So this is actually a pretty great tool for Pastel Palettes to be able to play some of their off-color characters. And yeah, just a very, very interesting card overall. And it is also a bottom deck bomb, so if you want to use this for removal strategies at level 0, try to remove some of your opponent's important pieces, then you could also utilize this card. Okay, moving on in the pack, we have the level 0 Tsukushi. I'm going to keep this on the side with the event. And for our second rare, we have the level 0 Kokoro. This is a pretty nice level 0 plussing option where on attack, if you have no cards in your back row, you may mill one, and if it is a level 0, you get to put it on your back row. So Previously, we've seen this effect, but it usually says if you have one or fewer other characters, whereas this one says if you have no cards in your back row. So this actually allows you to tri-field 3 characters in your front row and still use the effect to try to summon to back row, allowing you to play a little bit more aggressive in the early game. Additionally, her first effect says that when she attacks, you can look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, pick one of them to leave on top of your deck and send the rest to waiting room. Normally, this is used to confirm your trigger, but in this case, you can actually use it to confirm that you're going to summon a card off of the top of your deck in order to summon off of Kokoro's second effect. So really, really nice card. And for our climax, we have our Yukina level 3 climax. All right, we're only 3 packs in, but there's just so much to talk about. Here we have the Eve 1-1. It's a 7500 hand encore that you can utilize in those pastel standby strategies that I mentioned earlier. We have a new Memory Kick backup in the level 2 Nanami. Pretty nice card. And for our first foil of the box, we have the level 0 Rimi. This is the one that we looked at earlier, where they gave Rimi a gun. And this card, all these arts just look really, really nice. You can't help but appreciate the art that they use in these mobile games because they're just all so pretty. So we'll go ahead and put our Rimi right over here. Okay, next up we have a very interesting level 0 Hagami that I've definitely considered using at one point. So when this is placed on stage from hand or put into waiting room from your stage, you can discard 2 cards that are either Anniversary Trait or Hello Happy World. Then you get to look at 2 cards on top of your deck. One of them goes to your hand, and the other one goes to your stock. Or actually, you can choose up to 1 to put in your hand, and then put the rest into your stock. So you can potentially go no cards to hand, 2 cards to stock. And that's a pretty nice ability if you're looking to fuel extra stock. But there are a couple other extra options that in this particular set if you're trying to generate more stock that you can look into. But this is definitely a very interesting card. All right, for our rare, we have level 0 Rimi. This has kind of a Fukajiro-esque effect where you look at top 4 cards from your deck to try to find a level 1 or higher card, but instead of discarding a card to use the ability, you're actually paying 1 and clocking the top card of your deck. So it's kind of like an On-Death Ricky effect, but it looks through the top 4 for a level 1 or higher. So the community has not really established a naming convention for this kind of ability, but it's definitely something that I've seen here and there in various sets. So definitely be on the lookout for this profile. It's quite a strong consideration, especially if you're running a lot of event cards that you need to grab. All right, let's keep going. Here we have a 1-1 Saya. This is a memory anti-change bomb. So when this gets reversed, if the battle opponent's level is higher than your opponent's level, you can send that character to memory. And also, she has the on-play ability of choosing one of your opponent's characters and making it so that it cannot move slots until the end of your opponent's next turn. So this is really, really good for anti-standby strategies. If your opponent has like 2 2/2s, that's a mouthful. If your opponent has like 2 cards that they brought out via standby, like one in their front row, one in the back row, you can play this Saya, remove the one in the front row by sending it to memory, and then also lock the one in their back row in the back row so that they can't utilize it on their next turn. Okay, and oh my god, is that an SSP? Holy, we got SSP Tae, guys. Take a look at that. All right, I need to get a... I should have sleeved my Rimi as well, but like, just did not occur to me. We need to get a sleeve on this Tae ASAP. Whoa, what a beautiful card. So this is the level 1 combo. Where's the opening for this sleeve? Hello? So this is the level 1 combo that we actually pulled as a rare in our very first pack. Wow, this is such a nice looking card. And we have the rainbow signature, of course, that we see on the SSPs. What an awesome pull. All right, now let's hope that we can get an SP in our second box as well. And we'll go ahead and also sleeve up our Rimi real quick. What an amazing pull. This is definitely the Popipa box. Pulling a lot of cool Popipa stuff. All right, let's go ahead and finish off this pack. And for our rare, we have the level 0 Yukina. So this is a card that is utilized in a very interesting deck that utilizes 2 different level 3 combos. You can actually use her just in any deck because she has the ability to pay 1, send her to memory, look at up to top 3 for an Anniversary or Rhodesia character, and add it to your hand, send the rest to waiting room. So you can build a bit of memory as well. But the real spicy part is in that first effect, which we will probably have to come back to later, as there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to that combo. All right, on to our next pack. Okay, we have a Sayo Drop Salvage that also has on play Pay to Bounce. Pretty nice consideration for Rhodesia, as I don't believe Rhodesia ever had access to a Drop Salvage, just a Drop Search. All right, next we have the level 0 Misaki. So this card is a very interesting back row card. It's normally just a global 500, but she has an ability where you can rest her to marker a specific level 2 Misaki from your waiting room, and then you can rest her again once you have the marker in order to swap places with the 2-1 until the end of the turn, at which point the 0-0 comes back. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the level 2 when we eventually pull it. We have our level 2 Eve standby. We have the level 1 Rinko. All right, so this is a really, really spicy card. And we're gonna have to bring back the level 1 Yukina from earlier. So level 1 Yukina normally sits at 6,500 power if you have 2 or more other Anniversary or Rhodesia characters. In addition, this card is also red, which makes it a little bit awkward to try to run in a mono Rhodesia build. This Rinko is a very interesting card to utilize with the Yukina. So what she does is you can pay 1 and sacrifice the Rinko to summon the Yukina combo from your waiting room, and also give her plus 1,000 power times the number of your Anniversary or Rhodesia characters until the end of the turn. So this includes the Yukina herself. So this potentially allows the Yukina to attack for 11,500 before any external boosts, which is really, really powerful, and is definitely really strong considering that she has an on-reversibility. You're going to have a really easy time reversing your opponent. But more importantly, being able to bring out the Yukina like this allows you to bypass the fact that you need red in order to put her into play. Obviously, you would like to just have red naturally, but this is definitely a good backup plan, just in case. Especially in the mono Rhodesia builds where you have access to very little red. It's also a really nice card, in my opinion, to use for a follow-up turn after your normal level 1 combo. So let's say you play like a few Yukinas, you use their climax combos, you search for Rinko, and then you play Rinko on your next turn to bring those Yukinas back, and then play another turn of climax combo. So that's another pretty nice way to utilize this Rinko. Okay, for our rare, we have the 2-2 Eve combo. So this is a 2-2 standby target where when you play her standby, which we just looked at, you can choose one of your other Anniversary or Pastel Palettes characters and stand it. So this card is designed to be brought out at level 1 just by like a random standby, just, put this card in your back row. And then you move this card to the front row, and then you use the Climax combo to bring out more level 2s that can attack immediately, or even level 3s if you are at level 2 already. So pretty nice card. Being able to use this combo to bring out the level 3 Aya that we'll probably take a look at later is also really, really strong, as the Aya lets you burn at level 2. Okay, next up we have level 1 Tai. This one has an interaction with the level 1 layer combo that is a double R in this set, allowing you to bring out the layer from your waiting room using her second effect, which is kind of like a dual laner-esque strategy. Very interesting card. And obviously with Tai's relationship with Ray, those two are some of the best of friends since their childhood, so of course we had to have a synergy card between those two. All right, next we have the level 1 Hagumi. This is another card that I'm going to have to come back to later, as it interacts pretty well with some of the Kanon cards that come in this set. There's a lot of cards that just interact with other cards in the set in really, really cool ways, so I want to highlight all of them. They're just so cool. All right, for our next double R, we finally hit another double R. We have the level 0 Mocha. So this is an on-death Search Riki. And similar to the Karu that we looked at earlier, she clocks the top card of your stock as cost. Now, while this is an on-death ability, making it kind of susceptible to removal effects, it is also one of the best level 0 plussing options available in the Anniversary set, just in terms of getting exactly what you want. Additionally, her alarm effect is quite good, being able to give you one of your characters can on reverse kick your battle opponent to stock. So while this card is susceptible to removal, by clocking her in the mid to late game, you can actually use her as a removal tool as well against some of your opponent's characters. There is another really strong level 0 plussing tool in this set that is also on death, so we'll take a look at that in a bit. That card is a rare, and hopefully we'll be able to draw that pretty soon. Okay, now we have the level 0 Clean Cut Mashiro. She gets plus 1k during your turn, and then she has that Clean Cut effect, where when she reverses a battle opponent, you can rest one of your other characters, move it to back row, and save it for later. Really good for playing aggressively or using some of your back row characters as attackers. And for our rare, we have the level 0 Choo Choo. So this Choo Choo has an effect that gives all of your other characters on attack, your opponent mills the bottom 2 cards of their deck, and if there was a climax among those 2 cards, you get to deal 2 damage to your opponent. So this is a really, really neat card to play alongside the level 3 layer restand from the Reza Suilen trial deck, specifically in a mono Reza Suilen deck, or close to mono Reza Suilen, because the effect to have your opponent mill 2 from the bottom on attack is not once per turn. So if you give the effect to a layer brainstorm, you could, or not a layer brainstorm, a layer restander, you can mill a ton of cards off the bottom of your opponent's deck and look for a lot of burn damage. So a really neat setup is to use 2 Choo Choos and layer, so that when layer attacks, she mills 4 off the bottom and then restands and then mills 4 off the bottom again. So it's a really, really cool combination. It does require a lot of resources though. And because it's in Reza Suilen, your stock is kind of competing with the very strong level 3 Choo Choo Pareo early play package. All right, let's keep going. For our rare in this pack, we have the level 3 Rui early play heal. So this is a 2 or less early play. 2 or less climax and waiting room. She gets 500 power for each other Anniversary or Morphonica character in your back row. And on play, you can discard a card to choose an Anniversary or Morphonica character in your clock and return it to your hand. So one really cool thing, actually, about these 2 healers, the Chisato and the Rui, is that they do not heal necessarily off the top of your clock. So if you want to utilize effects such as the alarm of the level 0 Mocha, you can heal cards underneath the Mocha in your clock so that the Mocha stays on top and you can utilize that alarm. Really cool synergy. Additionally, this Rui actually is kind of, in a way, part of this package right here, so we'll keep her on the side as well. Okay. What else do we got in here? We have a Climax Swapper for Rhodesia with the level 0 Akko. Additionally, she allows you to level swap on play. So if you're playing those Rhodesia strategies where you want to have the level 3 Yukina early play healer in your level zone, this is a really easy way to secure that. All right, for our rare, we have the level 2 Misaki. So let's go ahead and... what rarity was the other one? I guess it was a common. So we'll go ahead and grab that real quick. Here we go. So this is the level 2 that you can marker underneath the level 0. So you would play the level 0, rest her, and then marker the level 2 underneath her. And then starting the next turn, you can rest the Misaki again, and then they swap places until end of turn. And this Misaki says, if you are at level 2 or higher, or if she has a marker underneath her, then during your turn, all of your other Anniversary or Hello Happy World characters get 1,000 times their own level. So really, really strong, being able to buff characters like your early play healers up to massive numbers, absolutely massive. Like Chisato can go up to 14.5, the Rui can go up to 13.5. You have some really strong attacking forces. But the fact that you're able to bring this out at level 1 by utilizing the level 0 actually is really strong for a lot of level 1 climax combos, such as the level 1 Yukina, which is on reverse. Within decks that use choice climaxes, Misaki's other effect is also really strong. When your character's trigger check reveals a choice climax, you can choose one card in your opponent's waiting room and put it on the bottom of their deck, and then give one of your characters 1000 power. Now, putting a random card, or not a random card, like you get to pick, but like just putting a card on the bottom of your opponent's deck doesn't seem super exciting, but it has synergy with the level 3 Kokoro that is in this set, where your opponent mills the bottom 4 cards of their deck, and then you deal damage to your opponent equal to the number of soul trigger icons, or cards with soul trigger icons that were milled from your opponent's deck. So this allows you to put soul triggers on the bottom, and then you can mill them with the Kokoro combo if you're running a choice deck. All right, so we are now halfway through our first box. All right. We have a kind of an 8 pants type of support card for Rui. For the Morphonica deck, they are pushing for 8 pants with the new set. All right, we have a level 2 Yukina. Level 2 Kanon. This card has a on-play Kome-esque effect where you get to look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 climax from among them to your hand, and send the rest to waiting room. And then if you added a card to your hand, you discard a card. And in addition, she also gets plus 1500 power for each of your other Anniversary or Hello Happy World characters during your turn, allowing her to swing quite high, 12,000 power on a full board. And yeah, if you're looking for climaxes in your late game and you're playing a deck that can accommodate some yellow, this is definitely a really strong card that you should look into playing in your deck. We have the Tsugumi Pay 1 Sack Top Check 4, and also has an alarm that allows you to use like a Hestia style ability, like a Hestia level 0, look top 3 for an event. Arisa level 3 killer. Have a level 0 filter for Pastel. And we have, for our first rare of the second half, we have the level 0 Aya. So this is a pretty normal looking Brainstorm. It gives your center slot character 500 power, and it's a tap self-salvage Brainstorm. But the Brainstorm ability actually has a small bonus where if the Brainstorm mills 4 cards of different colors, you get to blind stock 1. So she refunds the stock cost that was used for the Brainstorm. Now, you don't rely on that ability going off. It's just a nice bonus if it ends up happening, and it really just plays into the Pastel Palette's strategy of playing all 4 colors in your deck. But overall, it's just a solid Brainstorm, even without that ability that can potentially get you extra stock. Okay. For our next rare, we have a level 1 Lisa. This is a level 1 clean cut. And in addition, during your turn, if you have experience 2 or more, she gets plus 1000 power, where, she gets plus X power, where X is 1000 times her soul. So with like a 1k1 climax, she goes up to 7000 power. Pretty reasonable. But she is fighting for on reverse slots with the Yukina combo if you're going to try to run the Yukina combo in a Rhodesia deck. Alright. Do we have a double R? We do have a double R, the level 3 Yukina. So this card is an on-play heal and then climax combo with a Pants Climax. When she attacks, you can choose one of 2 effects, and you have to have 5 or less cards in your hand, which is like not a real condition. So you choose one of 2 effects. Either you can reveal the top card of your deck, and if it is an Anniversary or Rhodesia character or a specific level 1 event that we actually have not pulled yet, then you get to burn 4 for free, which is really, really strong. Or you can choose at the end of her attack, if the character across from her is reversed, you can pay 1 stock to burn 2. So what I really like using with this particular Yukina is actually the Yukina stock swap from the Rhodesia and Poppin' Party Extra Booster, because when you use the stock swap ability, you get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and rearrange them. So it allows you to confirm the top check for the Yukina while simultaneously, using that stock swap effect, which can be very potent in finisher turns. Additionally, this Yukina also goes with the level 0 Yukina that we pulled earlier. So we'll come back to this in a bit. Yeah, we're going to keep this we'll keep this on the side as well. All right, finishing off this pack, we have a level 3 Toko. This gets 1,000 power for each card in your opponent's back row, and when she's placed on stage from hand or from waiting room, she gets cancel burn 1. So this can be brought out from waiting room in one of 2 ways. The first one is the level 3 Mashiro combo from the Morphonica and Raise the Suiland extra booster. Because when her climax combo is when her damage is canceled, you can pay 2, send her to memory, and then summon a character from your waiting room. So you can summon the Toko and then proc the cancel burn off of that. The other way that you can summon her from the waiting room is part of this package that we still have not taken a look at yet. So we'll keep this right here with all the other stuff and come back to that in a bit. For our rare, we have a level 0 Kasumi. This is an event swapper. On play, you can pay 1, discard an event to salvage an event from your waiting room. And in addition, she's also a level 0 bomb. This is a card that pretty much makes a level 1 Kasumi from the from BanG Dream Volume 2, I think it was, completely useless, because that Kasumi was a 1/0 with the event swap effect, and this one is a level 0 with a secondary effect. This card is just much easier to use. And if you're looking for an event swapper, I would run this over the 1/0 Kasumi every single time. But yeah, if you're running a Popipod deck or any deck that runs a lot of events, especially if you have really easy access to those events, this is definitely a card that you might want to look into trying out in your deck. Okay, we pulled another double R. We have our level 3 Ron. This is the double R that I've been waiting to pull since 2 packs ago. So this level 3 Ron is very similar to the level 3 Mocha from the first Girls Band Party set, whereas they both have Encore Step Heal, allowing you to use your alarms within the same turn that you clock them without healing them off. Additionally, she has Climax Combo with a gold bar. On attack, if all of your characters are Anniversary or Afterglow trait, you burn 1 and then Mocha your opponent. So unlike the original Mocha level 3, where you Mocha both players, this one has a burn 1 and you do not Mocha yourself. Now, have I pulled both climaxes? I have indeed. So we can now take a look at this very interesting level 0. So earlier we looked at the send to memory effect to look at top 3 and add 1 to your hand. The second effect activates while the versus Yukina is in memory. So for those of you who have played who have actually played Girls Band Party, you would know that this particular card, the art where this is from an event where Rhodesia and BanG Dream were like having like a kind of like Battle of the Bands sort of thing going on, hence the name Versus. And this level 0 pretty much embodies the event perfectly. So basically what this card does is while it's in memory, you can flip her face down at the end of one of these 2 cards' attacks to take the climax that's in the climax area and swap places with the other one in either your waiting room or your deck. So let's say this gold bar is in my deck and my Yukina attacks and does combo. At the end of the attack, I can flip the Yukina face down in memory. I can declare my deck. I will search my deck for the gold bar. I will put it into the climax area. I will shuffle the pants into my deck. And then now I can utilize the Ron combo within the same turn. So this allows you to utilize both of their climax combos, and it's just a really, really cool way to play the late game. And there's actually one more piece of this multiple card combo that we haven't pulled yet, which is a level 1 Sayo. So now we just need to pull that. But first, let's finish this pack. Okay, level 3 Tae. So this is actually a really, really powerful uncommon. So she is a 6 or more climax early play, which I know that puts a lot of people off, but this is just a really, really strong card regardless of the early play condition. So I definitely recommend trying this card out, even though the early play condition is kind of sus. She has an on-play ability to discard 1, heal to stock, and if you have 2 or more other Anniversary or Popipop characters, she becomes 11k, and she also gains the effect where on attack, you can pay 3, discard 2 to burn 3. So this is a really fantastic off-climax finisher, and I highly recommend running this in your Anniversary decks if you can run some blue, or your Popipop based decks. Really, really strong card. And another strong Poppy-Pot card is this level 0 Arisa. So she is basically Goblin Slayer Chaser, where if you have 5 or more cards in your hand, she becomes 3k, and both Arisa herself and the character across from her cannot side attack. So they must front. And then she's also a chaser. While she's in your hand, she also gains Bonsai trait. And this is actually useful for a level 0 Arisa from the very first BanG Dream set, where you can discard a Bonsai trait character in your hand in order to salvage the toilet event. So this is actually important text. This is not flavor. So this is a pretty nice card if you want to run the toilet package and be able to just salvage your toilet event a lot. One concern that I personally have about this card is that against certain cards that you might run into in the current English metagame, such as Gil Thunder, the ability to not side attack can actually become a demerit, because you play the Arisa like going second, and your opponent might have something that is really big and can run in front of Arisa, and you might be forced to actually front into something bigger. So just be careful when you're using this card. You're going to want to run some power pumps alongside her to make sure that she can kill whatever she's up against. Okay, getting close to the end of this box. We have a level 3 Rinko. This is a 4 or more early play that also lets you search your deck for an Anniversary or Roselia character when placed on stage from hand. And she has experience 4 or more. She becomes 10k and hexproof. It's a pretty neat card. It's not one that I've personally used because I don't typically go for experience 4 in my Roselia decks. And I typically want to be early playing other early plays like the Yukina that sends opponents' characters to bottom deck, or the Yukina early play healer. But this is definitely something you can try out. All right, for our last double R of the box, so our 5th double R, we got the level 3 Kokoro. So this is the one that I talked about earlier with the level 2 Misaki. So she has on-play heal and then climax combo with choice. On attack, your opponent mills the bottom 4 cards of their deck. You count the number of Soul Trigger icons you count the number of cards with Soul Trigger icons, and you burn for that much. So good card to utilize with that level 2 Misaki, where you can trigger choice, put climaxes to the bottom of your opponent's deck, or put Soul Triggers to the bottom of the opponent's deck, and then mill them out. This card is especially good in metagames where players are running a lot of Soul Triggers. So there is actually, in the decent-ish future, going to be probably a Hololive deck that people are going to want to be running that runs a whole lot of Soul Triggers, and so maybe when that set comes out, you can use this Kokoro to take advantage of that. For now, though, this is a pretty solid combo nonetheless. Okay, we have a Climax Swapper for Raise a Suilan as well. We have the level 1 Bridge of Emotions event, so this is a cigarettes event where you mill 2 and add the levels of the 2 milled cards and then salvage something, but it's also a counter. So you can use this when you're out climaxes to mill through your deck. Just a really nice card overall. This is also a card that can be revealed off of the level 3 Yukina to get a successful burn 4. And it also has some interactions with some of the other cards in the set as well, which we'll take a look at later. For a rare, we have level 3 Hagami. She has a 2 or less early play condition. And on play, you can stock a yellow character from your waiting room and also shrink one of your opponent's characters. So if they have a high value, high level character, you can go ahead and shrink that and, just get rid of that problematic card. And into the last couple packs, last couple packs of the box. For our rare, we have a level 3 Hagami. This is a 4 or more early play, discard 1 heal to stock. And also, if you have 2 or more other characters, she becomes 10k power. Pretty ordinary card, but effective nonetheless. She does have some pretty stiff competition, in my opinion, as far as early plays go, compared to cards like the Rui level 3 and the Chisato level 3 that we looked at earlier. Okay, so now we're on our last pack. We have a level 3 event counter. That'll be useful for a level 3 Kasumi that we will take a look at later. And here we have the 1/1 Sayo. So this is a level assist, and she has a couple very interesting abilities that synergize with other cards in the set. So the first one is if you trigger a Pants Climax, in addition to salvaging a Climax, you may also salvage the 1-0 event or the 3-2 Yukina. This is a really, really strong ability. It really takes away that terrible feeling when you trigger a Pants and you're getting super close to refresh. Because normally it's like, oh man, if I salvage a Climax here, I'm gonna be out this Climax in my stock and the one in my hand, and it feels bad. But being able to grab characters and events off of those Pants Climaxes makes a world of difference. It makes it feel so much better. And her last effect works with that Ron and Yukina combo that we looked at earlier. So when you play a Climax, you can look at the top card of your deck and leave it on top or send it to waiting room. This can be a great way to confirm your level 3 Yukina to hit a burn on the first attack. Additionally, if you have both the level 3 Yukina and the level 3 Ron on your stage, you can activate an additional effect where your opponent mills the bottom card of their deck to their waiting room, and if the card that was put into your opponent's waiting room is a Climax, you get to burn 1 to your opponent. So it's not a super reliable effect, but sometimes you might just like randomly scam your opponent for 1 damage. So pretty neat effect. I definitely think that just the top or waiting room effect on any Climax placement is like super relevant at all stages of the game for making sure that like your first trigger is going to be clean, or like I said, confirming that Yukina top check. So this is a really, really strong card. I like this card a lot. All right, and then, man, there's so many good uncommons in the set. We have the level 3 Lock Stock Swap. So this is another stock swap option that BanG Dream now has access to between the 2-1 Buns for Luck event and the 3-2 Yukina. Now we have the Lock. So on attack, you can pay 3 Stock Swap. And when she's placed on stage from hand, she has the same effect as the Marine level 3 from Hololive, where you can sacrifice one of your other Anniversary or Raise a Sweet Lane characters to look it up to top 3, add 1 to your hand, send 1 to stock, and send the last one to waiting room. So really, really nice card. And of course, Locke, one of my favorite characters in BanG Dream. So this is definitely one of my favorite cards in the set for sure. For our final rare of our first box, we have the level 0 Masking, which is a new Brainstorm for Raise a Suilen. Unfortunately, it is another Search Brainstorm. So they got the Search Brainstorm in for the Choo Choo Brainstorm in the Volume 2 set, and then they have this Search Brainstorm in this set. Personally, I'm a big proponent for Salvage Brainstorms, but I think the only Salvage Brainstorm that Raise a Suilen has access to is the level 0 bottom deck bomb, which is a Pareo from the Extra Booster. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I have not been keeping up as well with Raise a Suilen decks compared to some of my other decks like Rhodesia. So if there was another Salvage Brainstorm that I forgot about, please let me know down in the comments. I can be exposed as a fake fan. But yeah, so that does it for our first booster box. There are some packages that we have not been able to look at quite yet, so hopefully we'll be able to take a look at those in our second box. But for now, we're going to go ahead and clean this up, get right into the second booster box. So see you guys in a sec. Okay guys, on to box number 2. Now, there are quite a few rares that we have not been able to pull yet, so hopefully we'll be able to take a look at some of those and talk about some of the strategies. For our second box promo, we have the level 1 Mashiro combo. So go ahead and put that right here alongside our Aya. And let's get right into box number 2. All right. Also, let us know down in the comments if you have a favorite band or specific member in BanG Dream, who your favorite is. Go ahead and let us know down in the comment section. All right. Into our second box, we have the level 3 Hagumi that we pulled earlier. Ooh, first SR of the box, we have the level 1 Hagumi. This is one that I said we were going to look at later once we pulled some other cards, but you know, we pulled the foil. We might as well talk about this card now. So this card, when she attacks, she gains 3k if you have another Anniversary or Hello Happy World character. And also on attack, you can shuffle 2 Anniversary or Hello Happy World characters from your waiting room back into your deck in order to give one of your Anniversary or Hello Happy World characters an additional 2k power until end of turn. Now, the main reason that you would want to play this card is because you want to shuffle specific cards back into your deck in order to trigger them. So this deck has a similar mechanic to Quintessential Quintuplets, where there are cards that can gain climax triggers while you have a specific climax in the climax area. So we'll take a look at those. Hopefully we will pull some of those. A couple more uncommons and our rare. We have the level 1 Lisa. All right. Ooh, all right. Speaking of, we have the level 1 Kanon Double R. So this Kanon has a combo with Choice, where she can gain Twin Drive and the ability to, or I guess the inability, to be reversed during your opponent's next turn. Additionally, she gains 3,000 power on attack if you have another yellow character. This is a card that is very much usable in non-Anniversary or Hello Happy World based decks. This can just be used in a general music trait build because it only looks for yellow characters. It doesn't look for any traits whatsoever. And her climax combo with Choice is also actually a double combo with a Brainstorm, which we haven't yet gotten. But basically, the Brainstorm gains a Choice trigger icon while you have this transformation technique, Choice Climax, in your climax area. So you can utilize the Twin Drive granted by the climax to trigger a lot of copies of those Kanons and get a lot of extra Choice Climaxes. It's really, really cool. All right, and for rare, we have the Tsugu level 3. I need to make some room. Okay. Okay. What do we have next? Nothing here. For our rare, level 3 Rinko. So far, only duplicate rares from this box. Oh, that is a foil. All right, what do we have here? We have Sayo Drop Salvage SR. A very beautiful card. And every SR in this, actually every foil in the set, I believe are all alternate art. And every single card in this set can come foil. Every character, every climax can come foil, whether it's as an SR or an SSP or an SSP or a triple R. So if you are a collector of shiny cards, this is definitely the set for you. All right, for our rare, we have the Event Swapper Kasumi. So unfortunately, this does mean that our second box did not have an SP. But let's see if we can pull some more double Rs. There are 14 double Rs in this set, so unfortunately we cannot pull them all in just 2 boxes, but we'll try and get as much as we can. For a rare, we have the Nanami Drop Search. She also has the effect where on play, you can choose one of your opponent's characters and delete a trait from that character until end of turn. Against certain decks like Quintessential Quintuplets, this can be really, really powerful. So don't underestimate the power of trait removal, especially in a world where a lot of cards have, if all of your characters are insert trait here, because this can screw that up real fast. Oh, okay, next double R, we have another Mocha Ondariki. For a rare, we have level 2 Mocha. This has, at the start of your climax phase, if the top card of your clock has Alarm, she gains plus 6,000 power. So, kind of like a level 3 killer in terms of how much power she can get, but it requires you having an Alarm on top. And she also has, on play, You can pay 1, discard 1 to free fresh. So pretty nice if you're looking for a free fresh option. Okay. Oh, this is actually a card that I meant to look at earlier, but we haven't yet. So this Tomoe actually has an alarm climax swap effect. So you can just clock her at the start of during your clock phase, and then if you draw the wrong climax, you can utilize the climax swap effect without having to commit a slot onto a board. So that's a pretty nice way to get your climax swap. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. We have level 3 Pareo. So this card has an accelerate that allows you to summon the level 3 Choo-Choo from your waiting room. So you hit yourself to summon level 3 Choo-Choo, which in turn procs the heal. And so you're basically taking 1 damage to summon the Choo-Choo and heal 1 damage. And also her other effect is a damage scry. So during your opponent's turn, when you take damage, you can top check and either leave it on top or send it to waiting room. Not the greatest effect when you're already at level 3, so I'm not a super huge fan of this card. I would rather just like play 2 copies of Choo-Choo in the restand, like I said earlier. Just play them all from my hand. Okay, no double R here. For our rare, we have the 2/1 Saya. So this is a 2k assist to level 3 or higher characters, and once per turn when you play an event, you can choose one of your characters and give it plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So obviously with Popipop being a really event-heavy deck, this card can potentially get a lot of mileage, especially since there is a really nice event counter in the new set that you can make use of. So you can give 2k on your opponent's turn as well. All right, for our next double R, we have the level 0 Toko Brainstorm. So this is a search brainstorm, and her other effect is an act ability. You can rest her if you have another Anniversary or Morphonica character, and then send her to stock. So in the past, we have experimented with using the level 0 Kanon from Girls Band Party 1, just as a way to convert extra hand into stock, because she can send herself to stock for the cost of her act ability. But this Toko allows you to have that ability on a much more useful card, since she's also a brainstorm. So I'm a big fan of this card. Now, this level 0 Toko that we set aside way earlier in our box opening is actually a changer into the brainstorm. So when your other character attacks, she gets plus 1,000 power until end of turn. So she goes up to 2,500 power, which isn't huge, but it kills some things. And then at the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can clock an Anniversary or Morphonica character from your waiting room to move her to your back row. And then at the start of your climax phase, you can change her into the brainstorm. So you attack with her, you move her to back, and then you change her. It's a pretty nice combination if you want more ways to get to your brainstorm. I'm going to finish this pack first. A couple more uncommons, and our rare. Level 1 Akko combo. This is definitely one of the cards of all time. So this is a 2 soul combo. The 2 soul combo allows her to time machine, so that means she sends herself to memory until the start of your next turn, at which point she comes back and gains an additional 3,500 power until end of turn. And then she gains 3,000 power when she's placed on stage from your hand or from memory. So you play her, she's 7k power with 2 soul, you send her to memory, she comes back, she's 10-5, and she's ready to just murder something. It's a very, very fun card. If you want to just play some Unga Bunga 2 soul strategies, highly recommend. It's a lot of fun. Maybe for you, not so much for your opponent if they're eating a bunch of damage. Okay. And now we have our next double R, the level 0 Lock. So, one distinction that we make in the Weiss community is the difference between a Fukajiro effect and a Chiuri effect. I'm going to have both of the originators of those profiles on screen right now, just so you can take a look at them. So the difference between those two is that Fukajiro looks for level 1 or higher cards. This is a profile that we see a lot more recently. Meanwhile, Chiuri looks for characters of a specific trait and not based on level. Locke is a Chiuri type profile because she looks for Anniversary or Reza Suiling characters. But the Chiuri profile, the reason we don't see it a lot anymore is because it's just really, really strong. And they've just been printing Fukujiro instead, which is still quite good, but definitely not as strong as Chiuri in most decks. And so the Locke in this set, despite being a Chiuri, does have a restriction on what she can discard for cost. She can only discard a level 0 or lower card in order to activate her effect. Now, this can include climaxes, as climaxes are treated as level 0, but it is definitely more restrictive. And as a result of having this restriction, the Locke does have 2,500 base power instead of 2k power, like the normal Chiuri. Alright, then we have the Masking Brainstorm for our rare. And we have one double R left to go in 5 packs. We got 2/1 Karu on play when this is when this is placed on stage from hand. If you have 4 more other Anniversary or Hello Happy World characters, you can pay 2 to make your opponent stock swap by shuffling all cards in their stock into their deck. So it's not quite as good as a normal stock swap because like normal stock swaps, you can guarantee that a certain number of cards will go into their stock from their deck, or not a certain number of cards, but like if your opponent has like 8 cards in deck and 8 cards in stock, you can guarantee exactly which 8 are going to be going into their stock, whereas this one, it's not guaranteed what's going to be going in because they have to shuffle their deck first. Okay. For our next rare, 1/0 Himari. And we have 3 packs left, and we still have not pulled the level 3 Tsukushi that I wanted to look at this package with, so hopefully we pull that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to grab one. So this level 1 Himari, at the beginning of your climax phase, if you have an alarm on top of your clock, she gets 1500 power, and when she attacks, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 1 or higher, you get to put it to stock. So it's kind of similar to Mel from Hololive, but it does require having an alarm on top of clock, making it quite a bit harder to use. Okay, climax. Come on, where's that Tsukushi? We got another Arisa Chaser. All right, 2 packs left, 1 double R, and 2 chances for Tsukushi level 3. Come on. There's our double R. We have the level 3 Aya. So this has a climax combo with the standby. This one here. Or I could have just pulled out the promo, but yeah. Climax combo with standby. When this is placed on stage by the effect of the standby, you can pay 1 and sack the climax to stand her, as well as shuffle 2 cards from your opponent's waiting room into their deck, which is pretty nice. And additionally, when she attacks, just any attack at all, doesn't have to be a climax or anything, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it is the 1/1 event we looked at earlier, or an Anniversary or Pastel Palettes character, you can deal 1 damage to your opponent. So this is a really good card to bring out at level 2. You have 2 ways to do that well. So if you have the 2/2 Eve, you can use the Eve standby to bring her out. And then Eve's climax combo would allow you to stand the Aya. Or if you just have the Aya climax, you can bring Aya out that way and then use her own climax combo. So any standby climax that you play at level 2, as long as you have the Eve on board, allows you to bring out the Aya and immediately start attacking with her. And you can just start going to town with burn damage because she has that burn 1 ability every time she attacks. So really, really strong way to play the level 2 game for Pastel Palettes 8 standby. All right, for our rare. We did it. We pulled Tsukushi. All right, cool. I get to talk about this package because this is one of my favorite packages in the Anniversary set. So first, let's talk about the level 0 Tsukushi and the event. So the Tsukushi level 0 says, when she's placed on stage from hand, you can discard an Anniversary or Morphonica character to search your deck for the 2/1 event. And also on play, if you have 2 or more other characters, you can draw 1, discard 1. The 2/1 event says if you... so first of all, you need 4 or more Anniversary or Morphonica characters in order to play this. It's like the text that says you need 3 or less. So basically you need 4 or more characters. You choose one copy of specifically this Tsukushi, level 0, on your stage and send it to waiting room, and then you get to summon any Tsukushi character from your waiting room on stage. And 99 out of 10 times, or 99 out of 100 times, you're going to be summoning this level 3 Tsukushi. So this allows you to early play the Tsukushi at level 2. Tsukushi's effect is a climax combo with a pants climax. So if I can pull that up. So she has a climax combo with pants. If you guys have played the Friends deck in 7 Deadly Sins, this is very similar to that. Or if you have played like Rhodesia from Hololive, very similar to that as well. So when the climax is placed on stage or on your climax area from your hand, you get to choose one Anniversary or Morphonica character from your waiting room, and you can either summon it to your stage or you can salvage it back to your hand. If you summon it to stage, you give the character 1,000 power until the end of the opponent's next turn. But if you return it back to your hand, you get to burn for 1. So this is a really, really fun card. And the reason I pulled these cards out is because they both have synergy with the Tsukushi. So the level 3 Rui, early play heal, her heal effect works when placed on stage from hand or by the effect of the Tsukushi level 3. So you can utilize her heal effect in a very similar way to in Hololive. When you play the Rhodesia combo, you can loop the Marian healer over and over again. You can do the same thing with the Rui, which is really cool. The other card that you can bring out is the Toko that we looked at earlier, the Cancel Burn. So I mentioned earlier that this card can be brought out from the waiting room via the 3-2 Mashiro combo from Extra Booster, but it can also be brought out via the Tsukushi level 3 if you're looking for some additional burn pressure. So definitely one of my favorite packages in the 5th anniversary set, and Tsukushi, one of my favorite characters in BanG Dream, definitely my favorite character in Morphonica. So I love playing this deck. It's a whole lot of fun. It requires a little bit of managing between like kind of all the moving pieces, as you do need to have you do need to keep track of the 2-1 events. You need to get the 3-2 in your waiting room, and you need to hold on to this level 0, but a lot of fun nonetheless. I love playing this deck. So definitely give this deck a try. Let's go ahead and put these back where they belong. And for our final pack, we have 1 rare left. We're out of double R's and foils, so this is just basically, let's see if we can pull a new rare that we haven't pulled yet. And our rare is the Kokoro level 0. So this is unfortunately one we already pulled, but that's going to do it for our second box. We pulled, let's see, we pulled 9 out of the 14 double R's, I believe. So we pulled Mocha twice, I think. So 2 Mochas, and then these 8. So we pulled 9 out of the 14 double R's. The double R spread is 2 per band, just like it's been for pretty much all of Girls Band Party. It's always been two double R's per band. So now, with that out of the way, we're going to just clean up one last time, get into our set recap. We're going to look at the last 5 double R's, as well as take a look at some of the high rarity cards that you could potentially pull in the set. And yeah, be right back in just a sec. Okay guys, welcome back. This is going to be our final recap. Before we get into the rest of the double R's, there are actually some rares that I wanted to take a look at that I think are very notable cards that you should be looking out for. Normally, I don't really take a look at the rares that I missed throughout the box openings, but I think that some of these cards that we failed to pull in the box opening are just too important to not know about. I'm just really enthusiastic about some of these cards, and I just want everybody to know what you have in store for you. So the first one to look at is the level 0 Kanon Brainstorm. So this is a card that I talked about earlier with the Kanon level 1, where she is a tap self-salvage Brainstorm. And in addition, when you have the Kanon Choice Climax in your Climax area, she gains Choice Trigger in all zones. So what you want to be doing is utilizing the Hagumi to shuffle copies of these back into your deck in order to trigger them with the combo and gain extra stock. It's a really, really high value play, especially if you get like super low deck and you can shuffle these back and guarantee that you trigger them. In addition, because this is just a generic tap self-salvage Brainstorm, both this Brainstorm and the Kanon can be used just generically in any deck that just wants to run like yellow, low, like level 0, level 1 game. You don't have to play a Hello Happy World deck. You don't have to play an Anniversary deck, which is really, really nice. The next card I want to look at is the level 0 Chisato. So this card has an ability similar to Escanor or Aqua from Seven Deadly Sins and Hololive, respectively, where when she's placed on stage from Waiting Room, when she's placed into Waiting Room from stage, on death effect, you can pay 1 and clock an Anniversary or Pastel Palette's character from your Waiting Room to look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 2 Anniversary, Pastel, or the 1/1 event from among them and add them to your hand, and put the rest into a Waiting Room. So this allows you to get a really nice +2 out of an on-death effect. Similarly to the Mocha, though, it is because it is on death, it is susceptible to removal, so you do need to be careful about that. Now, the next card is actually another on-death plussing ability, which is the level 0 Sayo. So this one has an on-death Salvage Ricky effect, where when she's placed on stage from Waiting Room, I said it again, when she's placed on death, you can pay 1 and put an Anniversary or Roselia character from your Waiting Room to the bottom of your clock to salvage either an Anniversary character or a Roselia character or the 1/0 event, the Roselia event, which is here somewhere. Yeah, so you have a lot of ways to access this event outside of just drawing it. You can grab it off of the level 0. You can grab it off of a Pants Climax if you have the 1/1 Sayo in play. And normally an event like this would seem pretty boring, but I think that because of all of the extra interaction that you have with it, it's a lot of fun to use. So Sayo, while this is a pretty good card in Roselia decks, I do think that you probably still want to be going with the Yukina Riki from the Extra Booster. That card is extremely strong, has that bonus ability sometimes to bounce back to your hand to reuse again. But this is also an option to use, so keep this on your radar. All right, the last card that I want to look at in the rares is the level 1 Maya. So this card has a Fukajiro style effect where it looks for a level 1 or higher card amongst the top cards of your deck. But unlike Fukajiro, there's no downside for missing. So like Fukajiro, you have to discard a card and then look. With this card, she says you look at up to X cards from the top of your deck, where X is the number of colors you have on stage. So if you have like 3 colors on stage, you get to look at up to top 3. And you get to choose up to 1 level 1 or higher card from among them, add it to your hand, send the rest to Waiting Room. And if you added a card to your hand, you discard a card. So this card potentially mills up to 4 on play for free with no downside. And sometimes you get to filter a card into your hand. And that card can also be events as well, because it looks for level 1 or higher cards, not characters. Very, very powerful card. Upcoming on the channel, we will be doing a deck profile that utilizes this card. And the way we're going to be utilizing it is with a deck that has primarily red and blue front row, while also having a back row that is green and yellow, ideally. So that will allow us to maximize the amount of dig that we have with this Maya to really get a lot of mileage out of her effect. Really, really strong card. The fact that she has literally no downside is what I think just makes her absolutely cracked and worth mentioning in this final segment. All right, now, double Rs. We have 5 that we didn't pull, so let's go ahead and take a look at each of those. First one, we have level 1 Layer. Level 1 Layer, personally, I don't think this is a super strong combo. She has a Minami style ability where you look at 4 cards on top of your deck, choose a character from among them, add it to hand, and then give 2k to one of your other characters. But unlike Minami, where she has to reverse her opponent, this Layer can either reverse the opponent or attack into an empty lane. And that is just really strong. If your opponent just, has empty lanes, you get to direct and just get your advantage guaranteed. But as kind of a downside, this Layer actually doesn't have the greatest offensive power. So she has 4/5 base, During your turn, she gets plus 1k, and with the gold bar climax, she goes up to a pretty weak 6,500 power. But if you're able to successfully resolve one copy, you can use that 2k buff to buff other lanes and make sure that they get their reverses as well. Okay, next card up on our list, moving on to red, we have the level 0 Saya Brainstorm. So this is a tap self salvage Brainstorm for Anniversary or Popipa. When you play a climax, you get to give 1k anywhere, and events can be played from your hand without having color. This can be really, really useful for certain events, such as the 1/1 yellow event in Pastel Palettes. What's really, really cool about those two cards is that the Saya allows you to play the event without having color, and then the event, once it's in memory, lets you play all of your characters without having color. So you just don't need color for anything except climaxes anymore. It's a really, really neat strategy. Yeah, so that's the Saya Brainstorm. And our last red double R is the 3/2 Kasumi. So this is a really strong consideration, in my opinion, for the current metagame. So on play, she has draw 2, discard 2, and blind stock 1. That allows you to dig for cards you might be needing, like her Door Climax or this 3/0 event, which we'll get to in a sec. During your turn, if you have 2 or more other Anniversary or Pop-In Party characters, she gets plus 2k power, bringing her up to a very strong 12k, which is really important because she wants to survive into the opponent's turn in order to get the most value out of her combo. The combo herself is, at the end of her attack, you can pay 2 stock and deal 2 damage to your opponent, and then until the end of the opponent's next turn, during Kasumi's battle, your opponent cannot deal burn damage to you, so very nice defensive combo. Now, the level 3 event that we pulled out here is a 3/0 event counter. You choose one of your Star Kasumi Toyama, which is the level 3 combo, and you give it the ability across -3 soul until end of turn. This is a fantastic card, like both of these. This is a fantastic combination of cards for the current metagame, with some of the strongest decks being ones such as 8 Standby Nino, such as Kanata Marine, such as Escanor. Both of these cards are very strong against some of the top decks right now. Kasumi having anti-burn on her Climax combo means that you cannot be burned by cards like Marine or 3/2 Nino, while the Living But Dead event counter, giving -3 soul, is extremely effective against Escanor. So, despite Escanor splitting up his attack into ones, it does not get affected by anti-burn from the Kasumi. You can use the -3 soul to turn the Escanor from like 3 or 4 ping 1s into 0 or 1. It makes it a significantly weaker card, and if you want to be playing BanG Dream 5th Anniversary in the upcoming metagame, I would highly recommend looking into this package for your late game. So I'm a big fan of this. All right, next. For our final color, we have blue. So first we have the, actually this one's first. We have the Lisa Mill Runner. If you have 5 or more cards in hand, she becomes 3k power, and she is a mill runner that works by milling an Anniversary character or Rhodesia character or the level 1 event. So we're back again. So really a lot of cards allowing you to make great use of that level 1 event, making sure that it's not inhibiting your strategy in any way by allowing it to be utilized even with like cards like the Mill Runner. So this is definitely a card that you could try running for like a turn 1 play for your Rhodesia deck. All right, finally, for our last double R in the set, we have the level 1 Mashiro Climax combo with Pants. If you have 2 or more other Anniversary characters, she gets 1k power, and then Climax combo with Pants brings her up to 6/5. When she attacks, if you have her Climax in the Climax area, you can discard 1 card to salvage a character, and then she gains the effect where when she would be front attacked on your opponent's next turn, you can bounce her back to your hand. This allows her to be looped for future turns, which is pretty easy to do considering that the deck that they are heavily pushing for Morphonica is 8 Pants, allowing you to repeatedly salvage those Climaxes back. The main issue that I have with the card is that the nature of this type of combo requires her to survive into the opponent's turn, and her offensive power leaves a lot to be desired. So, definitely a card that you could consider using, though. I really like that she has pretty good sculpting ability, allowing you to use that salvage to grab specific cards that you might need for upcoming turns. All right, with that out of the way, we just have one last thing to look at. Obviously, we did pull our SSP Tae in our box opening, but we do have a few more cards to take a look at. So let's go ahead and just get a good look at those. Here we have the SSP pulled from another case, which was the Tsugumi level 3 early play, using that fantastic art from the One of Us event, I believe. I'm like 90% sure it's from One of Us. One of my favorite sets of card art for Afterglow. And then for the SPs, we have a 2/1 Himari. Obviously, we're not going to be able to show you guys all the SPs. There's tons of SPs in this set. We have the level 0 Yukina, which is the one that goes to memory and works with the Versus combo. I think it is a bit of a shame that both the level 0 and both the non-foil and the foil versions of this level 0, they don't feature the Ron for that art. A little bit unfortunate, but you know, what can you do? The level 2 Saya support that we looked at, level 0 Climax Swap Masking, level 0 Eve, that this is actually an event salvager for the 1/1 event, and finally the Akko Climax Swapper. So these are some of the SPs that we pulled elsewhere. All of these cards just look absolutely beautiful. Obviously, I'm biased towards Yukina, so I'm taking a nice, good look at this level 0 Yukina right here. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, or listening. I know some of you guys out there kind of listen to these box openings as kind of a podcast thing. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new. Obviously, we have a lot to talk about with this set. And stay tuned for our upcoming deck profiles and gameplay videos on the channel. And until next time, this has been Randall, aka Shizukats, on the Tressa Collectibles channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!